Okay, we should be live. Let me know if you can hear me. Got a quick stream tonight. Just going to run through a few stories of the day, and we're going to keep it moving. Before we get started, let's shout out some of the chat. MC Casablancas is here, says, yo, what's up, Panda? What's up? NovaBrand7787 says, hit the like button or you love Kimball. LOL. We should have 1,000 by the end of the stream. LOL. MC Casablanca says, Panda probably faking a bong rip. Whistling Mike says, when's the start time? Oh, I started a little late. These things take forever to prep. How you doing, Mike? Good to see you here. MC Casablanca says, now he'll probably show up any minute now. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right. So first story first. I think we only have 4 today. So it'll actually be nice and short. Only 11 slides. Hopefully this will be nice. Actually 10 slides. All right. First stories first. This whole hype around the Trump supposed UFO speech. Canceled, not canceled. His daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, had some statements today, and everyone in the UFO community was all excited. And then it kind of got walked back by the White House press secretary within like hours. It was kind of funny. It was very reminiscent of what had just happened with the whole Obama situation.
So does the president act as if he believes?
So this is Lara Trump. She's married to Eric Trump.
Believes there are UFOs, and that this is going to be some momentous announcement, or is it just, a casual observation that there might be something out there?
It's a good question. I mean, he's kind of been very cool about it. Whenever I've heard this come up about this possible speech, and when Eric asked him, knowing him as well as I do, the way he says things, they make a difference sometimes, and he's been a little different about this one. So it makes me personally think that there's something that he knows that the rest of us don't know. And so I'll let people determine for themselves whatever that means. But yeah, it makes me think there's more to come.
Very interesting, because he's usually very open and frank about everything, unless it's, high national security or something.
Yeah.
Another thing I kind
of cut it up a little bit so you have the shot of them at the first thing, trying to make stuff sense.
I heard on your podcast that you've discussed with the president is UFOs. Do you think that he's about to make an announcement about UFOs? Because President Obama was just on a podcast talking about how he believes in UFOs and hinting that he saw something when he was president.
Well, I said this in my podcast too. What's funny is we've kind of asked my father-in-law about this, because we're like, well, what do you know? Because Miranda, we all want to know about the UFOs, or we all want to know what's going on. And he played a little coy with us. And so that, of course, led us to believe, Eric and I were like, oh my gosh, if he won't even like fully tell us, maybe there's more to it. And then I have just heard kind of around that, I think my father-in-law has actually said it, that there is some speech that he has that I guess at the right time, and I don't know when the right time is, he's going to break out and talk about, and it has to do with maybe some sort of extraterrestrial life, so to speak.
I kind of feel like she's just running with the thing of that one British dude. Maybe she's not, but it doesn't sound as definitive as it should. But maybe we're wrong. Maybe.
I just, I look at things from the perspective of the vastness of our universe. And I'm a kind of a numbers person. I don't get nervous flying because the odds are very much in your favor flying. The odds that anything will happen to you are far greater in a car than they ever will be in an airplane. But I'm also looking at the odds in terms of how much is out there in the universe. And it would be pretty wild to think that the only spot where there was any sort of life in the entire universe was here on Earth. So I don't have any information. I feel like there might be information out there.
I don't have any information. So this is what I'm saying. I don't know. I do not know. Diddy Squad says, look at those little fingers on Trump. I hope the speech happens and they talk about left-handed gay psionics. That would be hilarious if Trump and the left-handed gays are the most psychic. Gosh, they're trafficking people out of Indonesia. All right, my Trump isn't that good. I'll work on it. I apologize.
Post that
within hours, though, we had this. It was funny. Again, it reminded me just of the Obama thing from the other day. Where it was like, oh my God, Obama did disclosure, yes. And then like the next day, it's like, well, actually, statistically speaking, This one was just hours. There was like a 3-hour window today where everyone was like, "Holy fuck, Trump is gonna actually do it! Holy shit!" And then deflated. Right, here we go.
The president has a prepared speech on this issue that he prepares to deliver at the right time. Is that true? And does the Trump administration believe aliens are real?
Interesting. It's got the Ash Wednesday markings. Is it symbolic? Maybe.
Well, a speech on aliens would be news to me. That sounds very exciting, though. I'll have to check in with our speech writing team. And that would be of great interest to me personally, and I'm sure all of you in this room, and apparently former President Obama, too. So we'll keep you posted on that.
So, yeah, there you go. I don't know. It sounds like she's saying no, that she's unaware of it. People were saying, well, technically she didn't say no. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's run it back one more time. I was trying to find, because also let's not forget, she's the same lady who kind of lied to us about the mystery drones. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to try and find it.
Post that the president has a prepared speech on this issue that he prepares to deliver at the right time. Is that true? And does the Trump administration believe aliens are real?
Well, a speech on aliens would be news to me. That sounds very exciting, though. I'll have to check in with our speech writing team. And that would be of great interest to me personally, and I'm sure all of you in this room, and apparently former President Obama, too. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Oh, and Nelson said he's going to do it. It's going to happen, bro. I hope it does. But let's not forget, this was also Homegirl. You know what I mean? This was Homegirl.
An update on the New Jersey drones.
Oh, sorry. It's so
After
quiet.
research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity.
This is her again about the mystery drones in New Jersey.
This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States to start this briefing with some news. And with that, I will turn it over to an update on the New Jersey.
And back here, fuck it.
Post that the president has a prepared speech on this issue that he prepared.
Because T. James had a good point here. I want to
deliver at the right time. Is that true? And does the Trump administration believe aliens are real?
Well, a speech on aliens would be news to me. That sounds very exciting, though. I'll have to check in.
So T. James says it's tiring how it's such a joke to these fools, and I'm going to plug some of my old documentaries here. It's conditioned. People are conditioned. Let's look at this beautiful montage of just crowds of people instinctively laughing at it, and they haven't really looked at any of this. They're not aware of Colaris and how well documented of a flap that was.
UFOs out here flying around unidentified.
This would be the place for them, Southern California.
I'm serious. They sighted a bunch over Georgia. I've seen them at night. They have real photos of them, and the government and the people just completely seem like don't talk about it. But Mr. Harold Salkin of Washington, D.C., is head of the National UFO Bureau.
Right.
He brought me moving films. I actually have moving pictures of low salt.
A protest of people, by people, who want more information about UFOs. This is Operation Right to Know. When I first saw this, I thought it was another gay rights march in D.C., and then I looked closer and found out that it could have been
the godmother of your daughter.
Funny enough, I think Trump just commemorated Rush Limbaugh like yesterday or something for the 5-year anniversary of his death.
Shirley MacLaine writes in her new book that you cited a UFO over her home in Washington State. Did you see a UFO?
I did, and the rest of the account, I didn't. It was unidentified.
Obama and Clinton were on the stage when this was happening too, if I recall correctly. This is like 2008 Democratic primary.
Flying object.
Pilots, investigators, scientists, and researchers from 7 different countries gathered in Washington to discuss their shared experiences about UFOs.
This is amazing. And you know what? I can't help but laugh about this because when you think of people saying, "Oh, hey, I saw a UFO," you kind of think of freaks. I'm not going to lie.
I think that there is absolutely has been visitors from other places on this planet.
Visitors from not on this planet to this alien.
Numerous senior pilots from the Navy have been reporting significant UFO activity.
You take questions on UFOs, Emerald?
There's a reporting process for that and an office that handles that.
President Obama says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you.
So yeah, it's Pavlovian dog type shit going on. We've been conditioned. Watch that documentary, by the way, on my main channel, how the CIA and Air Force created their UFO stigma. Real deep dive there. Okay, let's continue. The funny thing about all this to me is I'm pretty sure this is all just downstream of this Mark guy. Mark Christopher Lee in the UK. I'm pretty sure he just started this thing a few weeks ago, and it's just taking on its own life of its own. Which is
hello,
hilarious.
and thank you for all your support here on X. I just want to clarify a few things regarding President Trump and UFO disclosure. My source, who I trust implicitly and has been vetted, they have told me that President Trump has written his UFO disclosure speech with his advisors and is set to announce to the world on July the 8th, the anniversary of the Roswell crash, that we are not alone. Okay. However, I do qualify this, and I did this in the original interview, which was missed out, that President Trump is a maverick and he does what he wants when he wants. So maybe it will come soon.
I love the way he says thank you here at the end. I don't know why, I just do.
I'm going to organize a press conference where we'll go through all the facts, all the documents, and my source will be revealed and they will be there. So please send your love and keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you. It's catchy. I'm not knocking you, Mark, but this is hilarious to me because then here was the update from Homeboy. Urgent. More anonymous pressure. They want to silence We Choose Truth. Just received another anonymous email from the same untraceable privacy domain. I suggest you tell your source to come forward sooner than later. There is a move to stop this announcement. It is much safer to flood this information out now. This follows the recent threats trying to intimidate me into silence. Translation, powerful forces are scared. They're pushing to derail President Trump's July 8th, 2026 disclosure speech, confirming extraterrestrial visitation and recovered evidence. Message received, but it only accelerates things. My source and I are more determined than ever. The May 1st, 2026 press conference in Washington, D.C. remains on, and we're exploring ways to move faster if needed. So the guy who's the initial source of all the hype is saying, well, actually, my source is now saying, they're going to put a kibosh on all this shit. Oh, yeah, maybe Mark's telling the truth here. But again, this thing has taken on a complete life of its own. It is hilarious to me. Our information flow is hilarious to me. Okay, so I think that's about it for that one. Let me see one thing here. I'm just gonna get a little bit of prep over here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. All right, next story for the day. We're almost halfway done. Rep Luna names names in the Epstein emails. Rep Luna names Epstein names. Okay, yeah. So Rep Luna names names in the Epstein emails. She, like many other politicians, have been, being able to see the unredacted files, and there seems to be this running theme going along with them that they're saying that some of the redacted names are victims and perpetrators, if you will. So here's what she had to say about this one. So this is the "Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was naughty" email. She says this. This Susan Hamblin sent this email. She took a plea deal and was given victim status under previous DOJ. DOJ should look into charges. Possible human rights violations were committed by Susan. I say that based on other files with her name on it. These women don't get to hide behind redactions. There were so many victims, none of which did what Susan did. This needs to be reopened. So I saw a lot of people saying, well, maybe Luna got it wrong. This girl's kind of smaller on the smaller end, so maybe she was talking about her. But I think it's worth noting, again, what Rep Luna says here. Susan, possible human rights violations were committed by Susan. I say that based on other files with her name on it. So I don't think she's just kind of shooting from the hip here. I think she's really kind of concerned. And yeah, this is one of like the girls in Epstein's orbit. Now, I got some clips here too. Here's kind of Luna, and then I got Boebert kind of saying the similar thing that like, oh, as time goes on, it seems that some of the perpetrators were actually victims. Or yeah,
I looked directly at the emails that have been widely circulated pertaining to the age 11, and I have it written down on my notes, the permission to kill email, the Snow White, the littlest girl was naughty, etc. And those ones were directly sent by alleged victims, women. They were sent by women.
So the most disturbing and darkest and sickest emails were sent by women to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and some of them pertaining to, jerky, whatever that is. Yeah. I looked
Weird. We also heard the
directly.
same thing from Rep. Borbert.
These individuals were engaging in sick acts that went beyond abusing young women, and that the groomers and recruiters were primarily women. It was women that brought these girls in, lieutenants of Maxwell, and I want to know why they haven't been held to account. I believe that there are co-conspirators who are listed in these files as and executive assistants to these two sick individuals. Comes to naming names, there may be a time to come on the House floor and do that. But as I mentioned, most of these women have been in the public eye, and there is a history of their relation to both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And these women, maybe they're claiming to be victims, but they were definitely groomed to be recruiters, and they are the ones who are soliciting the meetings in these emails time and time after again. You even see some of the women who worked for Jeffrey and or Ghislaine become engaged in relationships and marry same-sex marriage for citizenship purposes.
Wow.
And these women are getting their college loans paid off and going through schooling, living the billionaire lifestyle, and also sending these disgusting emails to those who I believe.
Getting their loans paid off, living the billionaire lifestyle, and now in the public eye acting like the victims. Pretty wild. Again, not all of them are like that, but it's kind of a disservice to the people who are like real victims. And I actually think I'm going to be interviewing Juliet, one of the victims out there who's kind of talked about a lot of this stuff, who doesn't seem like this. But yeah. RPK, are you going to have a look at whether that was actually Ghislaine Maxwell in the deposition video? Yeah, I'll do that. Probably not today, probably tomorrow. Because there's also a similar thing with Epstein about that kind of came up too. Dana Gobb says, how about prosecuting the men who paid for them? Yeah, there's been like nothing happening with all this stuff, and it's pretty wild. So back to that. So yeah, the littlest girl one was this chick, Susan Hamblin, who did get victim status and a plea deal. The next one that Luna exposed was this chick here. This email was sent by a woman named Nadia, the same Nadia that was listed as a co-conspirator in the New York case. She was then given victim status. There's a big difference between minors that were victimized versus one that became adults and chose to do terrible things. The DOJ needs to reopen these cases. Previous DOJ let them off. And this email is the one that's kind of weird. She said she felt God's presence next to her when she was in bed. She knows that Jesus watches over her and he helped save her life. Whoops. And then you should dress up like him when you see her. Of course. The "Oh Jesus, I'm coming" trick. So kind of weird. Not sure exactly what that means, but I know this phrase "whoops" has been used at various like sketch times. Like when talking about we talked about this the other day. Like when talking about like rape and murder and all this shit, and it kind of seems like super irreverent. Let me see if I could pull that up. Am I that good? Can I pull it up live? I should have prepped that earlier. Do I have it on here? Oh, I think I might be able to do it. So yeah, this phrase "whoops" is like super sketch. Let's see. Here we go. Boom. Present. Let's do a quick recap of the phrase "whoops." Here's some of the other whoopses going on around here. I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with redacted. He lied to you and he lied to me. Whoops. And then I actually think even in the other one, I was suspecting that might have actually been the same girl that she just mentioned. I think there's even a longer version of it where it's like a double whoops. It's whoops on whoops situation going on here. Yeah, look at see. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with Olga. He lied to you and he lied to me. Oh, look at this. Olga's not redacted here. Oh shit, it was redacted in the other one. Whoops from Jeffrey Epstein. And then this person, and actually, oh yeah, look, it says Susan Hamlin right there. It's kind of semi-unredacted. No one will lie to you to get away. No one will lie to you and get away with it from me. No one. Whoops is correct. So yeah, just kind of more to show that like this this whole like whoops thing is kind of very shady. Let's go back to some of the other whoopses that were going on with this shit. Okay, we're doing it live. We're bouncing around a lot of tabs here. Okay, cool. So that was that one. We got the extended version. This one, Sultan's mother-in-law died today in Columbus. Whoops. Or Columbia. Whoops. Remember that? Elkman died. Whoops. Bank manager for what is it? Deutsche Bank, which Epstein has had like a crazy lawsuit over decades with, or years. Turns out Ornella was raped when she was 18. Anna just told me today. Whoops. Very odd, right? Very odd. One more. Mary Kennedy found dead in her backyard. ... Whoops. RFK Jr.'s wife, who died by suicide allegedly in 2012. Not fun. Not fun at all. Very shady. Very shady. Let me see. I have to find my other thing here. We're doing it live. Okay, here we go. All right. Back to this. So yeah, we got a whoops here in the wild. Double whoops. Sarah Beth says super sketch. Astro says Lutnick OMFG. Justin Rue says whoops, there it is. Scale Tipper says Epi is basically 100% was reptilian by ancient lineage via the Khazars or some other Mesopotamian blood. Nearly sure of it, as are all the others like him. Yeah, hopefully I'm gonna be interviewing Juliet, who says she saw him shapeshift. So hopefully we'll be able to deep dive all that stuff. Okay. Oh, next one. See, yeah, this is real sad. This was a bummer. This was a bummer. All right, let me get it all set up and prepped. Okay, here we go. So Nick Pope, longtime member of the UFO community, claimed to ran the UFO desk in the UK, frequent contributor to news segments and stuff about it. Let me see if I can find one real quick, an OG one. He's always constantly kind of doing this kind of thing. Yeah, so look at here's one of them. You always see him on TV.
So history has recorded the first big UFO sighting in the United States is 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico, very famously right outside Roswell. But actually, there was, in some sense, a bigger and more significant event sighting 2 years before, also in New Mexico, at exactly the moment the U.S. government was detonating the first atomic weapon, shortly thereafter used in Japan. And witnesses on the ground saw some kind of object shaped like an avocado, they said, crash land. It was inspected by a lot of locals. There were beings inside, they said, and it was carted away by the U.S. government. Now, people don't want to be called crazy, so no one said too much about it for quite some years, but people within the U.S. government believe it's true, and they believe it so strongly that now, as of this week, the Defense Department's annual spending bill will require, as per Congress, the Pentagon to go back and investigate what really happened. Nick Pope is a former UK Ministry of Defense official who's followed this subject very closely. He joins us to assess. Nick, thanks so much for coming on. So this is a story that most, I think, Americans are not even aware of.
Shout out Pacific Life.
Clearly, people within the U.S. government believe it's real, or they wouldn't have attached this to a spending bill, correct?
Correct. Yes, this is being called the Roswell before Roswell. And you're right, people with some knowledge of these intelligence programs who've been briefed.
So there's him in 2023. Here's him 14 years ago.
My name's Nick Pope. I used to work for the Ministry of Defense, where one of my jobs was investigating UFO sightings. What I'm going to do now is look at 4 videos that have captured the public imagination over the last few years. I'm going to go through them, evaluate them, and then talk about the UFO phenomenon more generally.
Here's another one, answering Facebook questions 14 years ago.
It's going to go one of 2 ways. It is either going to be some spiritually enlightening experience where we meet the space people and everything's nice and fluffy and ET, or it's not going to go very well at all, and it is going to be Battle Los Angeles. And interestingly,
Look at this one. His first ever interview in 1996. Again, he hasn't died or anything yet, but he did announce that he has cancer.
Is about to talk publicly about the secret world of UFO sightings.
UFOs.
Nick Pope spent 4 years as the MOD's UFO watcher. His book about his experiences, Open Skies, Closed Minds, is published next month. And I'll be speaking to Nick Pope in his first television interview in just a moment. But first, we've asked an actor to read some excerpts from his book.
Until 1991, I was generally skeptical about the paranormal. I didn't believe in UFOs, and anyway, paranormal experiences only happened to weirdos, didn't they? My conversion was a slow one, but no less extraordinary for that. It is that some UFO sightings are probably extraterrestrial in origin. It is not that I've gone mad, not that I've made a blind leap of faith, but the conclusion I have drawn is the only one borne out by the evidence. What did happen in Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk?
So here's his
Well, I
first
came
ever.
into the job as a
Let's go.
Nick Pope, what do you believe now that you didn't believe 5 years ago?
Well, I came into the job as a skeptic, but I was convinced by the sheer weight of evidence, the sightings, the radar evidence, all that sort of thing, that some of these things that we see in the sky and call UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin.
Extraterrestrial what? Craft with people inside them?
Well, craft of some sort, certainly. That's not to say they all are. Of course, most of them.
So yeah, let's go ahead and read his announcement here that he has cancer. This came out actually a few days ago, I think now, but I've just been so busy. It's February 12th, so what is that, 6 days ago now? A message from Nick Pope. A while ago, following some digestive issues, I was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. Unfortunately, it's stage 4 and has metastasized to my liver. Well, I know that it's kindness and hope that leads people to suggest healers and supposed miracle cures and to say things like, fight it and you can beat it. I'm afraid my diagnosis and my situation leaves no doubt whatsoever. I can't beat it. What an amazing adventure I've had. A 21-year career at the UK Ministry of Defense, where I got involved in subjects ranging from financial policy to counterterrorism, from military policing to UAP. And I saved 6 cows. It's a long story. The things I've done, the places I've been, the people I've met, and the secrets I've been privy to, I wouldn't have swapped it for the world. And then a second career, where my previous government UAP role brought me to the attention of the world's media, leading me to become a regular commentator on TV news shows and documentaries, as well as consulting and acting as spokesperson on various UFO and alien-themed movies, TV series, and video games. The media called me the real Fox Mulder. The true highlight, of course, is life with my wonderful, beautiful, and incredibly smart wife, Elizabeth. She's a real-life Agent Scully, a scientist, a skeptic, and a redhead. We met randomly in the lobby bar of the Fairmont Hotel in downtown San Jose. She was an anthropology professor at San Jose State University. In October 2010, and got married 3 months later. We applied successfully for my green card, and she had me shipped over and imported to the U.S., where a new adventure began, as Elizabeth and I enjoyed wildlife watching at our wonderful home in Tucson, desert hikes, film noir, true crime, country music, Sunday lunches with my in-laws, and much more besides. Recently, we had an amazing one-year adventure in New York City, living 5 minutes from Times Square and having a wonderful view of the Empire State Building from our apartment window. We proofread each other's books and articles. I love commas, hyphens, and exclamation points more than Elizabeth, and managed to win at least a few of those battles. And I'm supporting her in her ongoing fight for free speech, academic freedom, and keeping political correctness, superstition, and identity politics out of science and academia. The White House press secretary tweeted one of her more recent newspaper articles, which shows the huge impact she's having. I kept working for as long as I could, right up until last week, with my various film, TV interviews, conference appearances, and live events, including my position as moderator of Ancient Aliens Live, where I think I did 94 shows. Sadly, the time has come where I've had to step away from this work. A lot of people have followed my work on UAP. I'm loath to use the word fans because I'm not a celebrity, but I'm a public figure, and many people have followed me on my journey as I have sought to keep the UAP subject in the public eye, and to frame it as a defense, national security, and safety of flight issue, as well as a fascinating science problem. Some of this work has been public knowledge, but some such work of necessity has been done behind the scenes. I hope I've helped move the needle forward, but most people, of course, know me through my media interviews and live events. To everyone who's following me on my journey, thank you, and good luck with your own journeys. I wish you every success and happiness. It's all been amazing, and I'm grateful for the things I've done, not mournful for the things that I won't get to do. Per aspera ad astra. Nick Pope, Tucson, Arizona, February 12th, 2026. So, Yeah, that happened. That was kind of a bummer. Actually, let's do this too. It was nice, and Astro pointed this out. You saw the whole community kind of rallying around him. All the different people who hate each other in the UFO land were all just like, "Well, Nick, we love you, bro. Hope you get well." We got Ross there, James Fox, Fugel, Jesse Michaels, Giorgio. Everyone's kind of just sending him positive vibes and love. Let's go ahead and do this too. This was interesting from Ash Wednesday. This is from Need to Know. And Richard Dolan and I think both Bryce Zabel. This is from their episode 3 days ago. They both have known Nick Pope for a long time. So here's what they had to say.
You go first on it. We talked about it before the show.
Oh, well, yeah, we're talking about the illness of our friend, Nick Pope. So I think probably a lot of people have in our community have heard this by now. If they haven't, it's Nick made a statement about it, which he posted on X, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has, this just caught all of us off guard. He's not well, and it's a bad situation, and I'm just going to leave it there. We've both known Nick for many years.
Right.
I have always felt very close to him in certain ways because we were both like young guys 25 years ago in the on the scene, as it were. And especially back at that time, people.
Oops, my mic's muted. Nick Pope came up in the late 90s. Dolan came up in the early 2000s. And yeah.
Would joke it. They would get us confused because we kind of looked like each other at that time. And he and I shared many laughs about that. We both had nice dark hair back then and big glasses and all of that stuff. But the real thing about Nick is that I just always loved him as a person. He was like, you really never had anything bad to say about him as a human being. And in his statement, I got almost emotional when I read him say, he said, "Well, I just hope that I was able to move the needle." And I thought, yeah, you did. Like he did. Yes. He had a lot to do with moving the needle on this subject. He wrote several very, very good books on the subject. And beyond that, of course, he was a fixture on Ancient Aliens and with that whole franchise. In fact, he was very deeply involved with them. So he really did have a lot to do with bringing this subject out for many, many people who were not familiar with it at all. And I'm beside myself with grief over hearing about this. And I all I can say is that I just wish him and his family, his wife and his loved ones, the best of everything moving forward. And I just want Nick to be happy for his time that he has with his family and his loved ones. And I just wish him the very best.
I'm going to echo every word you just said. And I'm only going to say as well, first of all, Nick hasn't gone anywhere. Nick is still here with us.
Still here. Right.
And if the question is, has Nick Pope moved the needle? I would say yes, because his presence on Ancient Aliens, for example, he is the grounded guy, right? He's not the host with the wild hair, as people describe it. Nick is a grounded guy who worked for the Ministry of Defense. He's done his homework. He knows everything about everything. Sometimes I bet you guys have agreed or disagreed, but he's always agreeable, right? He's a terrific guy. I love Nick Pope. I've met him at multiple conferences and hung out. We hung out in Roswell and had a time together. So listen, Nick Pope, important guy, has done so many important things and has made so many wonderful friends, and we all love and respect them, and we hope good things for him.
Yes.
We hope he stays well.
Yeah, and how could I forget this? He was also, remember, on the Basement Office with Green Street when Green Street was a believer. We'll watch a little bit of this.
This is true. If just one case is true, are so huge that it would be the biggest revelation in the human experience. We would have to rethink everything we think we know about ourselves, our place in the cosmos. And it is scary.
UFOs are one of the great unexplained mysteries.
Remember when Green Street was a believer? Them were the days, huh? So yeah, DTP in the chat says, TBH, mad respect for how real Nick is being about this. I know that you can fight it, mentality is good for some people, but for many, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Etherman says, was he a smoker? I'm not sure. Astro says, I remember Pope, Dole, and Sala as peers. Etherman says, Pope gave a private lecture to Demi Lovato once. She sat there and ate pickles out of a jar. It was bizarre. Yeah, so there's that. And then what do we got? I think we've got two more stories real quick here. All right. Ryan Bledsoe, son of Chris Bledsoe, shared this photo today of what he claims to be the lady, the entity that, his dad allegedly saw that like all the intel people are obsessed with. This is allegedly a photo of it. Let me see. What do you guys think of this photo? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. I'm going to try and find... where's that Semi-Van clip? Because Semi-Van kind of breaks it down, like why everyone's so obsessed with the lady or whatever like that. Okay, yeah, check this out. Here's Jim Semi-Van, alleged CIA guy, parted to the stars, talking about why Chris Bledsoe and the lady and all these intel people are all obsessed with it.
I just think they're a great all-American family, but when Chris went through, and I believe every word he tells me, and about this, and not only do I believe every word he tells me, he attracted the attention of a lot of people: DIA, NASA, CIA, other agencies. Everybody wanted to get close to him. Everybody wanted to know as much as information as they possibly can, because his experience it took in not only the classic abduction scenario, because he had missing time, right, where he had no idea what was going on, right, but he also met the entities themselves, and he also met the lady.
Yeah,
and not many people meet the lady. And I think, and the lady is an element in all of this that really hasn't been explored very much. I will tell you that in some circles, it's taken.
This is an Engaging the Phenomena interview, by the way, that he did with them
very, very seriously. But it hasn't been explored. The Catholic Church looked at it, because a lot of the sightings, Medjugorje, Fatima, Lourdes, they were all the lady appeared. None of the children that saw any of this ever claimed it was the Virgin Mary. It was just the lady. It was just a lady who showed up.
Right.
Yeah. And I doubt the Virgin Mary had blonde hair and blue eyes. She was Semitic. So, and of course, the lady would lie, and the lady, would.
So what he had said earlier too, I kind of was looking around for shit, but he says that all the intel people around Chris, like Hal Puthoff and Lou Elizondo and Tom DeLonge, probably they're all really interested in this lady entity.
Scare the living hell out of them, and fire and brimstone sometimes lovely messages. A typical abduction scenario where these beings come to people and they tell them stories. They have the line about the environment and things along those lines, but they're generally there's a trickster element to it. There is a physical, not very nice physical element to it. There's a very strong sexual element to it.
Odd, weird, very strong sexual element to this whole shit. Odd, strange. Look at this. Look at how random shit could get in UFO land. Let's watch Chris Bledsoe and Charlie Kirk discuss the lady.
So after years of receiving mixed responses from people, you had another encounter on Easter.
Rest in peace, Charlie.
Of 2012. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that was the turning point, the change in the direction of where we were heading. For the first 5 years, it was pretty much a curse, because when I would talk about it, the whole community just came down on me, and there were people trying to to take my children away. They thought I was crazy. They were bringing holy water to the house and sprinkling me and my property and my children. And I'm crying. I'm saying, look, I was praying to God. I wasn't praying to the devil. And I don't get it. I don't understand. So it turned into be a laughing stock at school for my children. They were coming home and crying. And so I got upset and decided that I'd never talk about it again. And when I did, the next experience was this, all I can tell you, it was just the most beautiful lady I have ever seen. She came and she came in the middle of the night and she told me, she said, this is your burden. You have to tell this. And if you will, I'll help you. I'll bless you and let you film us and let you share our presence with the world. And so help me. From that point forward, I started being able to share with others. And I have done so with the highest authorities, from CIA to DIA to U.S. The Department of Defense to scientists from different colleges and universities. And it all happened after this beautiful lady came. And believe me, I was born and raised a Baptist, right? I had no idea who some spiritual female light would be. But I don't see them as aliens, Charlie. I don't see it that way. I see them as spirits, basically. It was a spiritual experience for me then, and it still is to this day. But what I can't put my...
Let's not forget, too, I like to always play this whenever the lady comes up. Fringe, friend of the show. By Bledsoe's own account, the lady, if you're real or fake, is a manipulative entity,
Darren's point about this divine feminine. I understand that the world probably feels like it's missing that balance and missing the divine feminine. And so here comes Hathor. And Hathor is wanting to fill this gap potentially. I just want to take a look at Hathor as an individual goddess and ask ourselves if we really want Hathor filling this gap. So we have Hathor. Let's just take Chris Bledsoe because he's so well known and his story is so well known. We have Chris Bledsoe, who is living a great life. And then suddenly, he's thrown into a lot of turmoil and anguish. He starts living a horrible life by just normal standards. And he's abducted by Hathor. He's missing 4 hours. His child is terrified. He sees what we would refer to as aliens. For years, he's sick, and his family, his entire family, is tormented by shadow beings. His oldest son actually moves out of the house because he's so afraid of these creatures. His oldest son is convinced they're demonic, and Chris had to keep telling him, no, 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 and he has to convince him that he's not demonic. So here comes Hathor. Hathor then tells Chris that all of that was orchestrated by her. She takes responsibility for this. She tells Chris that he made a bargain with her when he was abducted in the ship, and that he has to go through with this bargain. And if he does go through with the bargain, then she'll let him film the orbs, and she's going to provide his family with protection. Well, that's a strong arm robbery to me. That's not divine. That's not anything. I'll just put it this way. I'll just take my own personal opinion. That's not anything I want in my life. And so this is Hathor. Is this creature the one we want filling the divine feminine role? She is, her main message, and this is at the end of Chris's book, the main message is go out, pray to the universe, do CE5, and just leave yourself open, to the response. And we know that there are people in this very community, in this very room, at this very moment, who have been harmed by orbs, by CE5, by contacting, just willy-nilly out contacting in the universe, these beings, these creatures. And so we know then, just by using logic, that Chris Bledsoe's divine feminine Hathor, who also accepts, blood sacrifices, by the way, and many gods have, so that's not necessarily the only criteria, But she wants us to go out into the universe with zero discernment whatsoever and do CE5. And we know that it can cause harm to people, physical harm, psychological harm. We know you can bring home the shadow people by doing this. So that just doesn't seem like the kind of female divine entity I would want in my life. And I think at some point in the future, and probably starting right now, we're all going to be making that decision. Is this my divine feminine?
So yeah, there's, just to balance the perspectives, So again, here's the photo from Ryan Bledsoe. It says, "The lady told my father in 2012, paraphrasing, the darkness will be exposed and destroyed, and the age of Aquarius will come bringing new knowledge. There will be a great deception perpetuated by a dark force that worships Satan to convince the world there is no God, that the phenomenon is aliens, evil monsters. The end game is to snuff out the light of your soul and trap you here eternally. They will not win. Light is coming." What is that last picture of? The lady taken at a Skywatch. Thank you. That is incredible. So yeah, if you're in the chat, let me know what you guys think of this photo. I mean, really hard to make out anything of what it is. I tried to mess with the contrast and whatnot a little bit. I mean, it does kind of look like a face here. I wish he would have put more. He blocked me, by the way, if you can't tell there. I don't forget why. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. Who the hell is the other Tim Taylor, the other disclosure, the Adjustment Bureau? Now, shadow people, that's some scary stuff there. Yeah, no, I mean, it's all the lady's kind of sus, bro. There's also this. Let me see. While we wait maybe for some things to come in or not. Did you guys know this? This is a fun one. John Dee, Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, and Chris Bledsoe all felt they were in communication with the goddess Hathor. Fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun. Versace Vampire says, pareidolia is what the photo is. Not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. A lot of people were kind of clowning it. Let's actually see what were people saying on my post about it. Yvonne says, she looks like SpongeBob SquareWoman. Okay, here we go. So under my post about it, what are some thoughts people had? Rin says, is that Sigourney Weaver? Who is the lady supposed to be, says Artisan Tony. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me, John 14:6. The deception is ironically coming from people like Chris. Doomer Daddy says, I can fix her. Dagnum P.I. says, how dare you assume the gender of this cloud? The Witchy UFO Girl says, anyone who insists the UFO phenomenon has only one explanation, that theirs is the only correct one, that aliens definitely aren't part of it, and that it somehow validates only their religion, is a giant red flag. Fuji says, what are they saying with the triangle sometimes up, sometimes inverted? That's kind of a long thing. I'm so sick of all the Bledsoe family. Ryan in particular is just a fucking grifter, says one kidney runner. Lord of the Ring vibe, says Liberty Soul. Mo even says, could be interdimensional beings appear like this with the right camera setting. I'll just kind of stop there for a bit. Yeah. All right, one more, and kind of on the beat, which, I'm not trying to, okay, let's see.
Homeowners are
all right, now I'm not trying to talk shit about Chris Bledsoe here, but I just saw this video for the first time. We're going to live react it for the first time. Bledsoe accused of scamming in 2006, I guess related to some, I've just never seen this. I thought it'd be kind of fun to watch in real life. I'm not trying to throw shade at Chris Bledsoe, but let's just go ahead and check it out. Fuck it.
Angry and not afraid to show it. In fact, they say the builder let them down.
Now, for his part, he says he didn't do anything wrong. Jason Stujanki has more on the building frustration.
They bought new homes in Fox Meadow and Hope Mills, and they're upset.
It's just going to be a battle, though.
Angela Nichols paid more than $250,000 for hers. She says the builder, Chris Bledsoe, promised to fix things and didn't.
It's a beautiful house, but because of what we've gone through, I don't enjoy being in here.
She has a list of complaints. There are drainage problems in the yard. Some of the wood on the deck is warped. Some screens are missing from the outside windows. And inside, take a look at this. Some of the rooms have doors on backwards, like this bathroom. Her neighbor has examples too. When did you first notice this? Were you?
Either Man says he was sick at the time, though. So, worth noting. Iggy Pop, or 13 Egg Poo says, oh, right, he is a construction company. Justin Rose says he hired subcontractor 100% hack work.
We were in the house probably 2 months when water came pouring through my son's bedroom.
She says her roof leaks and her driveway dips.
It pools water there and will hold water for 3 or 4 days. If it's cold, it freezes.
And we're taking care of it. Bledsoe defends his work. He says he built 90 homes last year and got fewer than 5 complaints.
We have fixed everything we can possibly fix. There is maybe 1 or 2 that we're working on.
He says in this neighborhood, one homeowner let the warranty lapse. The other has something personal against him. Meanwhile, Nichols is selling her house. Her neighbor keeps hers, but shells out big bucks for repairs.
It's almost sickening, but it's our home, and we've got to have it fixed.
Jason Stujenki, WRAL News, Hope Mill.
So yeah, let's go back. What did Homeboy say? He said,
got few and her driveway dips.
It pools water there and will hold water for 3 or 4 days. If it's cold, it freezes.
And we're taking care of it.
Bledsoe defends his work. He says he built 90 homes last year and got fewer than 5 complaints.
We have fixed everything we can possibly fix.
DTV says, but he hired the people. Justin Roos says, that's why he went out of business, no excuses. Yvonne says, Chris was just about to unalive himself. Yeah, I think this is around the time, like, the initial sighting happened in 2008. So this is 2 years before that. I think this is right around the time he's getting diagnosed with Crohn's. And I'm not trying to cast judgment or anything. This is an interesting little part of UFO history. DTP says, maybe wasn't the 2008 financial crisis that crashed his company. Fuck, man, IDK. Scale Tipper says, all those houses down south like that are built with particular board and plastic. Total bullshit jobs. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That was the stream for today. Fun times. I really thought it was going to be like 20 minutes, and of course, it's already been 50. But yeah, fun times. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for being here. Bye.